I think you're right, and I think there are certain people who undoubtedly can possibly work better from home. But the generality of people, they need what an office environment offers. They need the camaraderie, they need the water cooler business, they need the incentive, they need the exchange of ideas, they need the face-to-face. Zoom and everything is all very well in its way, and it's brilliant, etc., and has expanded the way people can work. But I certainly think this idea that we are all sliding into this business of working from home 5, 6, 7 days a week is ridiculous. If you had suddenly gone from where we were pre-pandemic to now and suddenly seen how people were working, I think we would be astonished and horrified. But we somehow slid into this, and I think it's high time the country got back to working in offices, if that's the nature of their work, which it is for most civil
Amy,
servants.
you say no one should have to work in an office if they don't want or need to.
No, I absolutely think the silver lining of the pandemic has been shown that how good working from home really can be.
You must have a posh big house,
in my
Amy.
opinion.
You must have a nice big posh house.
I think that if you can,
You're not working in a
office,
pokey little flat, are you?
What office worker is working generally in a pokey little house? Also, gives you a lot more money because you're saving money on travel. You're saving money, saving time. You have so much better well-being. If anything, there's so much research and studies to show that productivity increases when you work from home. And actually, one of the biggest issues at the moment is people are working longer from home, and there is a worry.
But doesn't
that
it depend what type of house you have?
Oh, yeah, of course it does. But arguably, you're probably likely to have an OK house if you have an office job. Like, this idea that you've got a horrible house and you have to work in it is not really the case, because all of the research at the moment suggests that when else is anyone going to have time to watch Michael Portillo on steam trains?
Well, look, but Michael, not if we're wanting to be an upwardly mobile society. I think that's just completely the wrong approach, because, I'm sorry, there are lots of young people who are wanting to get ahead and are being forced to work in completely inappropriate surroundings because they don't have a nice big house in the country with a Peloton bike with a garden.
You don't need a Peloton bike to work well and productively.
I think
you need a living room.
I think the British state is largely dysfunctional, does all sorts of things very, very badly. But I don't share your contempt for civil servants. I work with some civil servants for whom I had the highest regard, and I still express my gratitude to them decades after we finished our work together. But I do think I personally would have found it completely impossible to do the work as effectively as we did if those people hadn't been in the room with me. And it was when you got them around the table and you looked them in the eye and the team was buzzing, and then people were rushing out of the room to go off in smaller groups, to draft something, to have bright ideas, to come back a moment later with some work that they distilled outside the room. I mean, that is the dynamism of a fast-moving political situation.
But that's why you look towards a hybrid model. We're not saying work from home completely and utterly, that's it. You meet up every so often. It just gives people flexibility, because parents flexibility, which is so important. You're getting mothers back into the workforce, where previously they probably wouldn't have been able to if you were still stuck in an office commuting every day. You wouldn't get back to pick your child up. In this case, you will. It makes a bigger and better workforce with well-being.
I'm not going to say that there are no circumstances in which people should work from home, or that there are no advantages to some people from working at home. I do think, however, when we return to normality, there will probably still be a premium for people who work in the office. And then you'll be talking about inequalities, because what will happen is that the people are actually on hand, that you can ask the question to straight away without having to go on a Zoom call. Those people are going to be advantaged. So I think you'll soon start talking about inequalities.
Especially young people who have never yet worked in an office environment. They're going to find it, I would have thought, hugely to their advantage to be in that environment.
Of course. And look, I'm not saying that all civil servants are lazy charlatans. I'm saying the ones who are lazy charlatans are the ones who want to stay at home full time and believe it's their right. It is their right to be paid for by the state and to never have to go into an office. I just don't believe that that is how the private sector would work, and I think it's an unaccountability that the civil service blob often get themselves trapped in.
No, there is unaccountability in the blob, that's perfectly true. But I think there are also lots of examples in the private sector now of people who feel entitled and who believe that it should be a sort of basic human right not to go to the office.
Yeah,
and I do not go along with that. I do not think the problem is exclusive to the public
and Amy,
sector.
I stand by the fact that you must have a very big, nice house.
I stand by the fact you can't be lazy and own a Peloton.